I'm not from a fauji background. This is the life I want, and I enrolled and I got in within a couple of months. And while Bharat Mata Ki Jai is a common thing, Major John Michael doing the Aarti during one of such Mandir parades was where I had to stand against the system for one of my jawans. The other side also, the army offers you free speech involved in the counter-insurgency. An ordinary citizen or who would be an insurgent or a terrorist, right? So we were dealing with those kind of mixed emotions. You're speaking to a Leo. I'm always. Is this a UN mission or is this an Indian Army mission?
Has there been any failure stories? Any mission that you have taken up and it didn't go the way it was planned?
Plenty.
Anything like that?
Once again, there are plenty of failures also. But one which really touched me was you told in my introduction that I was from the regiment of artillery. We have a separate arm which is known as the aviation arm, the Army Aviation. And as young captains, people can kind of volunteer and they can sign up and they can go and learn how to fly also.
Okay.
That's quite sought after because, that's the best of both worlds. I too signed up and I cleared they have a test. I cleared the test. Then there was a merit list drawn. And to my surprise, I topped the merit list. There were 19 candidates selected and I was I topped the list. So I was so happy about it. My unit were feeling bad to let me go, but then they were very happy that one of them had topped the list and they gave me a grand party and sent me off. We went to Devlali, that's near Nasik, did 1 month of training there, ground subjects, learned all about physics, cos thetas and everything. Then went to Allahabad for the flying part. It was a 6 months flying course where basic flying, fixed wing flying was supposed to take place. But bad weather hit us, the entire course, and we were lagging in flying. My instructor changed. Whatever happened, out of the 19 guys, it was only me who was grounded. In the sense, I was told I was not good enough to fly, and I was sent back to my regiment. Out of the 19, only me. So that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, my goodness, I'm not good for flying. How do I go back to my unit and tell them that while I topped the merit list, I am the first failure? So I dealt with it. Well, I had no choice. I went back to the unit. The unit accepted me. But there was always that lingering thought, that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And sure enough, it impacted my work also. So one fine day, I think it was a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, we were sitting and having lunch. Again, I had goofed up something. So one of my seniors, the same Major John Michael whom I had referred to, he was there and he was a very laid-back gentleman. So he said, NK, what's wrong with you? You're not the same guy who left us a few months back. So since there were just two of us, I thought I could confide and I opened up. I said that flying has really impacted me. So he gave a look at me and he started laughing. And after laughing, he said, look, NK, you have failed in flying, period. But that just tells you that you are not good up in the air. What does it tell you about ground? So why are you, aligning the two? And that it gave me a new perspective. Yes, I could not fly for nuts. I was a failure, but that was about a plane. That does not speak about how I do my work at ground with my troops. And I'm sure that changed my thought process and my perspective, and it certainly helped me. But yes, that's one failure which I remember very vividly.
Typically, when we fail, we're constantly telling ourselves that we are a failure, not just, we personalize it.
Totally.
We say something like we are a failure. We don't say, oh, this event failed or this situation has failed. It's so easy for us to say we are a failure. And many of them suffer with just repeating this statement to themselves, and suffer with heavy self-esteem issues and which also lead to a lot of mental health issues. So one of the things that we tell as coaches, we tell our clients is to be more mindful about what you're telling yourself, the inner dialogues and the narrative you are setting for yourself about yourself, the criticism that you tell yourself. So on that note, I wanted to understand from you, what are your thoughts about mindfulness and how it has helped you in your career or in your life?
Yes, I think that's what you said was absolutely right, that being mindful can give you the right inputs, even from a failure.
Right.
But we never, in our younger days, we never rationalized or thought it in that manner, but we had a little different drill in our unit. Like whenever we used to get hauled up by a senior in the office and during the morning hours, it was a drill among youngsters that they would land up at his place for a drink in the evening. And over a drink, the senior is also relaxed. He's not giving you an order, but he's explaining the thing. And even you get that extra kind of leeway to voice some concern which you could not do it when you were standing in a Savdhan in his office.
Yeah.
But what really happened, which I can now see, is that the incident was contained and the lesson drawn out before the next day began. We never carried forward the incident. So that is something which we as youngsters did in our unit, which really helped us in not taking an incident at the face value, but of kind of analyzing it in a very cordial manner and drawing a lesson out of it. That I think was done unknowingly by us or in a subconscious way, but yes, that used to happen.
You did mention about lessons. So what is your biggest lesson that you have learned from your time in defense?
Walk the talk, if I can put it that way. Because in the army, like you are aware, we are one unit, whether it is whether I'm in Pune or Gurez or anything. There is no way that I can get away by putting a mask on for few people. Whatever an officer is known to his men. So in case you want your men to be working in a particular manner, you need to demonstrate that to him. So there is nothing better than a personal example. So I feel walk the talk is something which I have gained from the army, which I'm putting to use in the corporate world also, and it's giving me great dividends.
Awesome. Moving on to the corporate world, how easy or difficult was your transition from defense to civil?
Well, I would say the transition was not difficult, nor was the corporate world. It was me who was difficult because I did not prepare myself for the corporate world. I did an MBA towards the end of it when I made up my mind that yes, I would be, laying anchor on my service and doing something different. But then 21 plus the training, 25 years of military life is not easy to be shaken off, immediately. I got a couple of offers when I decided to move on. In fact, I had 3 offers in my hand to choose from. But rather than dwelling into what it would entail me and what difference I would have to make in my own lifestyle or in my, I would say, conduct, I rushed into it. And that is something where I find now, 4 years hence, that maybe I should have prepared myself a little bit more better before joining the corporate, head on. So yes, the corporate transition was, I would say, the work was comparatively easy. It is the transition that one has to make within themselves to start working in a little different way. That is something which comes with time. And yes, my first 6 months were a little bit of a learning period for me on that.
Yeah. So what is your biggest lesson?
My biggest lesson is army is not corporate and corporate is not army. Don't mix the same. Don't mix the two of them.
Right.
But, so corporate is a very vibrant thing, but some of we are military veterans. We tend to take the same, I would say, ethos and try to situate it, which is incorrect because the ball game is very different there, and the ask, the conduct, everything is it's poles apart. So we need to align ourselves and not take the, I would say, the high ground or the other, that this is the way it is done. It is done in army because of a particular reason. It would not be done in the corporate because of a particular reason. So that is what we have to equate. We have to make sure, like I said, there are some good lessons which I took from the army to the corporate because it facilitated my conduct there. But if I would have started functioning the way I functioned in the army, then I would have been a disaster in the corporate world. So that is the fine tune that a veteran or a military person has to do before he goes and starts working in a corporate world.
Right. What did you had to unlearn?
A lot of things again. Like I said, learning is more easy than unlearning. 25 years of something which you were taught was the right thing, it's very difficult to unlearn. And in corporate world, there are whenever, like I moved after almost 21 years of service. So you usually get pitched to a position where you are dealing with a lot more team members than whom you're reporting to. So in the army,
the interdependability you're talking about that. Okay.
The interdependability, and also that while we were in the army, there was a like you're aware, right? The structure is very rigid. It's very hierarchical. And if I say something in the army, I would not even want to recheck it or something. I would take it that it's done. But maybe in the corporate, my team member may just come and say, okay, I didn't get time yesterday. I could, and I'm busy today. Maybe I'll get back to you tomorrow. So that's something that I'm giving a very simple everyday conversation. That is something which is difficult for an army man to digest in the first way. Because in the army, if you are given a thing, then I would not care whether you have slept that night or not. You have to produce me work the next morning. But in the corporate, it's different, right? We need to give priority in corporates to various situations or to the activities or to anything, keeping maybe the finance in mind. What is the budget? So it would not be just a thing of the heart. It would be a decision taken after a lot of more filters being put in. So I feel both the worlds are wonderful. Both the worlds have their rights and wrongs. It is just that when a person is kind of moving from one place to other, they have to unlearn certain things, carry forward certain things, and learn the new things.
Right. And what is your biggest lesson that corporate world has taught you?
Corporate world has taught me a lot in this 5 years. While I was just used to the army of way of life and the activities within the army, while I still continue to be in a physical security domain, but since I have moved on to the incident management, whether it is upskilling myself to meet the requirements because the world is ever evolving, whether it is on how to sustain I would say a colleague relationship and to take things forward fruitfully for the team, how to take a step back when required for the larger interest of the team. There are all the things which I would have, which I've learned in corporate. Maybe in the army, I would have had a different reaction to all of these.
The discipline is something that is not seen in the civil world, right? And discipline is something that is synonymous with the defense forces. Everything is discipline there. So this comparison, if you're able to draw, was that a real struggle?
Usually we tag discipline with the army in that way, but for me, I feel each occupation needs a different set of discipline. So if for me in a corporate, if a person is doing his stuff on time, if he is reliable, if he's coming to work and without anything, he's disciplined. I would not want him to have his shirt tucked in the trouser and then come in formals every day. Sorry, that's something which is maybe required in some other sector. But what I did was, one is I stopped using my rank in the corporate. So if you ask any of my colleagues, they would say he's NK. Half of them even don't know that I'm a colonel, retired from the army. The second is, like my immediate batch obviously knew. So they used to sir me. I had to put a very conscious effort in making them stop doing that. While it took a lot of time and effort because, it was something very impromptu for them to sir. But that has helped me because now I see after a couple of years, calling me by first name itself gives them a little bit of more of, I would say, freedom, or
Yeah.
so these are subtle changes which I did, which I think made me settle in the corporate world better. But I must tell you, this generation is awesome.
Yes.
There are generation gaps, but they are such good, quick learners that I am constantly learning from them.
Right.
It's like it's something, technology is ingrained in them, I guess. So I find myself not very savvy with technology, but yes, I've learned quite a bit from my team.
What is the future from here?
Well, that's a tough ask, because every time we have to give our thought process where I would be next 5 years. I would look at myself thinking, but if on a personal way, I think I'm in a happy space in the corporate right now. I would obviously continue learning and hoping that the best comes my way. But at a personal level, I feel that I'm 49 now, so I have more or less a bulk of my work life is more or less done and dusted in a typical sense. But then I would want to experience more things.
Such as?
Like that's what. So just for your information, like when this is my second job. So my first job was in Bombay, which I left and moved to Pune. And during that time, uh, my wife, and another couple, we decided to take up a business of a restaurant, and we have set that up. Just before COVID, we went through some horrible times, but yeah, now we are comfortable. So that was another learning for me. It was a very new area which I ventured out, and we are still learning. But yes, that is some new experience. I've also fitness has been an integral part, so that is continuing along the journey. So I'm always on the lookout of something else which interests me, and I would be engulfed by it. I don't know whether you have heard about Toastmasters.
Yes, I do.
But yeah, so that is something which I encountered, because when I was in the army, I never had the chance of joining Toastmasters. So when I left and I came back to Pune, I joined Toastmaster in a big way, and I really enjoy the sessions. So some people ask me, why are you joining Toastmaster at this age? It's primarily for people who are just getting into work or something. My take is that I would like to do stuff which I enjoy. So I'm looking for new experiences. So I may not be very correct in saying that I don't know where I would be next 5 years or where I want to be. But if there's one thing I'm certain, is that I don't want to stagnate. I want to try out new things. It may be financially viable, may not be financially viable, but I want to experience new things before I leave this earth.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, and all the very best.
Thanks a lot, Aparna, for that opportunity, and I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you so much.